But people keep expecting it. The quarter text came out. I kept saying, it's a comic book. It's a comic book. Comic book. Pictures. Comes out to this day. It's a comic book. And I guarantee you, when Hearts and Minds comes out, someone's going to be like, where are the damn zombies? So this is unfortunately what I do. It's creatively fulfilling. It is economically self-destructive. I've got another graphic novel in the works, which is coming out from Avatar in about a year. I can't talk about it because it's a true story, so I have to be very careful about who I tell. I know it's going to come to a shock to you, but people have a tendency to rip off other people. You don't believe me? Go to the Saber Forge people. The people who make lightsabers. I just talked to them. I'm just like, wow, George Lucas doesn't sue you? And they're like, no, because legally, if it's 15% different, he can't sue you. Wow, you guys have really thought about this. So that's the mindset of most people. They're talking about Lucas. Lucas lost a lawsuit. I ain't telling anybody about what I got coming out. I ain't George Lucas. I can tell you this. It's not G.I. Joe. It's not zombies. It's not even any characters you'll recognize. Wow! What a potential for disaster. When it comes out, what the hell is this? So that's what I've got going on right now. They say awesome. You haven't seen him yet. Anyone else? Yes, way back. You know, it's you. It's cool. It's you. Down to the mic.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering if you ever actually considered making the Zombie Survival Handbook into an actual instructional video.
That is an excellent question. And yes, I have considered doing it. And I may do it someday. But the truth is, I've got other things driving me right now. Now, like I said, world's worst businessman. That should have been the first thing I did. I should be milking that cow to death right now. And I'm sure in the time it takes me to do my other sort of weird creative projects, somebody else will do it. And I think actually a lot of people have. There's like a lot of things on YouTube about that.
Oh yeah, there's like a lot of YouTube videos.
Yeah, which is cool. So maybe someday I will.
Thank you for answering the question, and also thank you for coming to Wondercon.
You're welcome.
Parachutes down and there's a dispatcher, a mysterious dispatcher who leads her through. Right. Is that dispatcher real?
That's a very good question. Next question.
In the audiobook version of World War Z, was there ever any talk of doing an unabridged version? And how much control did you have in the voice casting?
That's actually a good question. Thank you. For those of you who has not heard the audiobook, okay, shame on you. No. Here's the deal with the audiobook. It actually goes way back to when I was a little kid. I am what you call very, very, very dyslexic. For those of you who don't know what that means, someone's like, yeah! Here's to mixing up your words. Well, that's what I did all my life, was I screwed up words, and it was really, really hard for me to read. I was tutored from the age of, I don't know, first grade till 11th grade, just to pass. All right? School was really hard and really brutal. I mean, we're talking a kid who would study hours a night and be lucky to squeak by with a C. That was me. And it wasn't for lack of trying. And my mother, God bless her, what she did was went to something called the Braille Institute, which was for blind kids, where they will transcribe your school books onto audio cassettes. They would read your school books so the blind kids can hear them. Well, she got that for me. And I used to listen to my school books. Otherwise, I never would have passed. It literally would take me too long to read my assignments. So as a result, audiobooks were really important to me. And when it came time to do an audiobook of World War Z, I was like, look, please, I said to Random House, let me take a stab at it. Because one of my first jobs to pay the bills was doing cartoon voices. I don't know if you guys ever saw Batman Beyond. sharp and anime. And then there was a guy who wasn't. There was a character who was very round. Everything about him was round. His name was Howard Root. See, they even know. Howard was Terry McGinnis's very geeky friend. Well, that was me. He's, oh yeah, that guy really was a nerd. Yeah. That was kind of things I did. I did like an episode of Justice League, just a bunch of stuff. But the point is, I had a lot of contacts in that area. So I said to people at Random House, let me throw some nets out and see who I can get. And I did. And some people I cheat with, Carl Reiner. But even the people I had to cheat with, I had to prove it to them. Alda is a really good family friend of mine. He actually was one of my mentors in writing. When I was 14, I used to write short stories. He would critique them. God bless him. Asian guys sitting there, this junior high kid, like, well, your character needs to develop here. Well, Alan said to me, look, I love you like a son, but I have to pre-read what I'm going to do. I can't just do this, zombies. And I said, sure, yeah. He read it and he said, wow, this is really good. And he read it. And some of the other people I had to throw out, I had to write letters to and make it really formal. And here's something which actually can probably help all of us. When you meet a celebrity, someone that you're really jazzed about meeting, don't compliment them on the most popular thing they've done. They get that a lot. And chances are, 9 out of 10 times, they didn't do it because they loved it, they did it for money. All right? They don't care about that job. Find something that they were passionate about that didn't get a lot of press. And compliment them for that. And I guarantee you would make their day. My mother taught me that. My mother said when she met Stanley Kubrick, she complimented him for Barry Lyndon. That's what you do. When I met Ridley Scott, who was shooting a movie with my mom, I complimented him on Blade Runner. Right? The things that they're passionate about. So when I wrote to Mark Hamill, I did not say, oh, Luke Skywalker. Or I didn't even say the Joker, because it's the voice of the Joker. And I mean, for those of you who don't know this, Mark Hamill didn't just go into obscurity after Star Wars. He became a voiceover titan. Right? You're lucky to get Mark Hamill to do anything in the cartoon world. So I wrote him a letter and I talked about a movie he did called The Big Red One. And I encourage you to see it. He said, yeah, that guy's seen it. He's like, yeah, what, were you in it? No, it's a good movie. It was an awesome movie. It was a World War II story. As good as anything they've got had on a Band of Brothers. And Mark Hamill plays this kid who just can't kill. And it's abhorrent to him, he can't do it. And then at a scene in a concentration camp, he kills somebody. And it's one of the most chilling scenes you've ever seen. I wrote to Mark Hamill and I said, if you could take that character 10 years after the war, describing his experience, that's what we're looking for with World War Z. And nobody else can do it like you. And he did it. So we got him. We got Henry Rollins. We got John Turturro. We got one of my personal favorites, Jürgen Prochnow. I'm a huge Das Boot fan. We got an amazing cast. Now, the reason it's hard to do it unabridged, it's a bridge, it's only reading a few stories. The reason it's hard to do unabridged is because we had to pay all of them. Usually what you do, for those of you who know audiobooks, is they get one guy, all right, and he's good at doing different voices. And they pay him, and he reads a whole Tom Clancy book, And the general stood for Alexia. What are we doing? Said Alexia. That's what they do. So, that's why it's hard. Maybe someday. Maybe why don't you all start a letter writing campaign to Random House and say, do it unabridged. Let's see what happens. So that is the story of the audiobook. And it's something I'm very, very proud of. Anyone else? Yeah.
She lost her voice, so I'm just going to ask. What kind of research did you do for the Zombie Survival Guide, like for weapons and fight tactics and all that kind of stuff?
What kind of research did I do for weapons and all of the things? I did, if I can quote Ralph Waldo Emerson, an ass load.